Hey lovelies, welcome back to Reviews and Recaps. Let's talk about Put a Ring on It reunion, honey. Okay, so I'm going to just talk about what the highlights were for me from this reunion. And let's talk about Mr. Jacoby. So Jacoby and Julia and Jaisha got into it. So now, here's the thing. My actual thoughts about Jacoby is that Jacoby does not know how to carefully express himself. The thing is, what he's saying, I get the message, but the way he delivers the message is terrible. His delivery is awful. He definitely is hurt and needs to heal. But I think that the people were choosing two things. I think people were choosing to misunderstand what he was saying, but at the same time, it's hard to not misunderstand what you're saying when your delivery is so off. Now, that being said, I got what he was saying. I think what he was trying to communicate was that his preference is to not date a woman who already has children and who is a single mother. And so that's what his preference is. And people are allowed to have preferences. If anything, understand what he was saying about women tend to have a lot of preferences. For example, a woman will say, I can't date a man that is shorter than me. I can't date a man that is light skinned. I only like dark skinned ninjas. And that is okay. No one says anything about it. I can't date, I can only date a man who is wealthy and earns at least 6 figures. Like, girls or women do that all the time and no one calls them out or anything. But when a man says, oh, I can only date a woman that is light skinned, then it causes a ruckus and everyone is upset. So I guess where he's coming from, that, people should be able to have their preferences without anyone coming at them. I just wish that he knew how to communicate that in a way that comes across well. If anything, he just ended up looking like a whole fool in the way he was communicating it. But if we sort of ignore his approach and the way he communicated and think about the content, then we would be able to clarify and understand exactly what he said. Now, he definitely needs a lot of growth. He definitely needs to change. He definitely needs to get his ish together, because seriously, my guy, you were coming across as hurt. You were coming across as bothered. It is not cute at all. Okay, so let's talk about Ricky and Catherine. So every time Ricky is next to Catherine, he never looks happy. He always looks so uncomfortable. It always looks like he's scared of her. Like, who else thinks that? Let me know in the comment section below if you guys actually think and agree with me on that. I feel like I appreciated the fact that Catherine on this episode actually took accountability for being verbally abusive towards Ricky. But my thing is, what has she done since? Everyone keeps talking about, yes, we are going to do the work, but what is the work? What does the work look like? Because, and I say this because a lot of people constantly say things like, oh, we're working on being better. By doing what? What are you doing to make you do better? Like, I'm tired of people just speaking and saying things like, oh, yes, I'm working on myself. What are you doing to work on yourself? And I think that this is a question that we need to be asking people. We can't let people get away with that. Just saying, oh, I'm working on myself. By doing what? What exactly are you doing? That is something that I would have appreciated the host coming out here to say. What have you done so far? And what do you intend to do to keep on working on your issues? It's not as easy as just say, I'm working on myself. What does that mean? What does that mean? I've heard so many people say they're working on themselves, but when you ask them what they're doing, they can't articulate it. That means they're not doing anything. So, yeah, I am a bit skeptical about Catherine in that sense. Now, let's talk about Marcus. Marcus. So, the first time Marcus showed up on our screens, I was okay with him. I thought he came across very well. But then, the next episode, he became cocky and it became worse. And at the reunion, he just became a joke. Now, I don't know if it is this thing about him being competitive and wanting to, I don't know, end up with Catherine. Even though I still think he's going to fumble Catherine if Catherine gives him an opportunity. He was being very cheeky and rude when he was talking about something that Catherine had told him about their relationship being lackluster and their sexual, and Ricky's sex game is lackluster and not great and all of that stuff. Now, most men would have been upset about that, or at least would have kicked off about that, but Ricky seemed to be cool with it. It was like he's heard worse. I'm like, okay, so let me guess, you've heard people say your D game is terrible? Did you fix it? Did you care to fix it? Like, what is going on here? But anyway, that was mad. And the part that really got me was Marcus going back and forth about that. Even if Catherine said something to you, that is something that she expressed on a personal level. If that wasn't shown on the show, I don't think you should bring it up publicly like that in a way to try to humiliate Ricky. That's not fair. That is a testament to who you are, your character. You have definitely serious character issues, in my opinion. What was interesting was, did you see Catherine's face? Catherine was loving the attention. She was like, yes, fight over me. She was enjoying every minute of it. Marcus then got up and tried to give her a ring. I'm like, what? You don't even know this woman, but you want to give her a ring? That is insane. Who does that? Give a random woman, at this point, she might as well be a strange woman. You've seen her how many times, and you're going to give her a ring? Like, seriously. And even the way he brought it, it was almost like, well, if he's not sure he wants you, I know I want you. So there you go. That's a ring. So whenever you want it, it's here. Like, it was giving thirsty. Marcus, you're coming across as very thirsty. You're coming across as someone who just wants to win. You see it as a competition and you want to take her away from Ricky. Now, I don't think her and Ricky have a solid relationship. I personally don't think they should be together. But if she's chosen to be with that man, leave them alone. And can we just talk about Shayla for a second, honey? Shayla was like, yes, she can't imagine why Catherine is not speaking up. I'm like, girl, mind your business. First off, just mind your business. No, but seriously, she just needed to mind her business. Like, Catherine does not have to interrupt if she does not want to interrupt. Let them go back and forth in peace, right? If Catherine decided she does not want to say anything, that's for her to do. It's not for you to interrupt. It is none of your business. So Catherine got in and was like, she needs to mind her business and that it is a conversation between men. She's not going to get in the middle of it. If they decide to go back and forth and have their conversation, that is between them. And I'm like, fair enough. I personally would not have interrupted the conversation. I would have let them go back and forth if that's what they want to do. And then when it comes to my opportunity to speak, then I will speak. Shayla comes across as that girl that would ride for her man. She would speak up. She would be like, no, you can't speak to my man like that. Da, 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 da. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong in you being able to ride for your man, right? I think for me, my approach is just very different. Like, I would let them speak. Then I would say, I feel like, Marcus, you're being very disrespectful. You were on the show. And ultimately, I chose my man. So just let it go, right? So I would speak up in that way. However, I'm not going to interrupt Ricky and Marcus's back and forth just because I want to speak. And I'm not going to take kindly to someone expecting me to interrupt the conversation. That's just not going to be cool with me. So I clearly understood Catherine on that point. But I also understand Shayla's point. Especially because Catherine was just there looking like she was loving it. So I don't get the impression Catherine would have even said nothing in defense of Ricky, to be completely honest. However, let's not act like Ricky is going to say anything in defense of Catherine to begin with. Ricky is quiet all the time. He's not going to say nothing. He's not going to defend Catherine. So why she got to do nothing? If she doesn't want to do anything, then let it be that. So what was interesting was then the host looked over to Chelsea, who is Ricky's ex-wife, right? And then said to her, So what do you think about this whole thing? And she was like, this is not my place to speak. I'm like, yep, mind your business. And I love that. And so Catherine was like, yeah, well done. Like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what she should have done. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with you, girl. It's all right. Let it go. So that was that. The other thing that I was like, okay, Jasmine and Zay got married. Well, they didn't get married until after the reunion, but at the reunion they were talking about getting married. They actually seem so happy. I feel like they did the work on this show. We saw them do the work on the show, especially Zay. We saw the difference in Zay from when he joined and when he started to the end of the show. I'm definitely so impressed with Zay. I cannot even lie to you guys. I loved how he came through for his girl, and I hope like they end up like just having a beautiful life together. I wish them all the best. But yeah, that was the highlights from the reunion. Let me know what you guys think. Give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and tap that bell if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.